your average guy still gets a lot of temptation thrown at him, right? How often do we hear women complain about there are no good men out there? How often do we complain about, like, do we hear women complaining about, certain things when it comes to men? This idea of like good men being really rare has, like, the majority of people have now accepted it, right? And then you add any sort of charisma to it, because now the complaint is that most men don't have emotional intelligence, right? Most men don't have the ability to talk to women. Most men are, very forceful in the way that they dialogue with women, right? So you have these men that have like any sort of game, right? Who are even remotely good looking, who may have just a little bit of influence. And all of a sudden, all of them women around them are just like taking notice, right? And it can be as subtle from like, checking him out a little too often to as overt of like being pursued by women, because women are now feeling very competitive over men. And so I don't necessarily agree with like your average guy being able to control himself, because if we're honest, the average guy isn't really sat down and prepared for the level of attention that he might get for just being a decent guy. We're not even
That's a
talking
fact.
about like top caliber guy, just being a decent guy. Like that's become, women are taught that that's such a rarity. That guy's not equipped for the attention he's about to get. So I think that if those conversations were to happen more often, maybe they'd be able to control their circumstances. Because right now, because they're decent guys, their assumption is, oh, she's just being nice. Oh, she's just being friendly. Oh, she's just being pleasant. Oh, it's because we work together, or because I see her every day, or whatever the circumstance is. They're looking at this woman without understanding the potential ulterior motives that come behind certain behaviors, right? They're not equipped to handle that attention.
But that's what I mean. When you are a person who moves with character and integrity, I think that is your sphere of influence, is yourself. So even if somebody else is moving with bad intentions, whether you know it or not, wouldn't even matter. Because for me, if I'm gonna be in a situation like we talk about, work husbands, work wives, or what have you, um, if my goal is to protect the sanctity of my relationship or my marriage, it's just a certain way that I would have to move. I know as a man is a little different as a woman in terms of the way that I would have to move versus the way that my husband would have to move in the workplace. However, the end goal is the same. So I'm not gonna go like if there's a night out with people from the job or whatever. Like if my husband goes, it's a matter of, yo, we're gonna go out after work. You want to meet me at the spot that we're going to, or vice versa. If I'm going out, oh, after work, or people are going to such and such. You want to meet me there, or something like that, just to protect that situation where it's not allowing room for the opportunity for something to happen. And
Okay.
again, I know sometimes mistakes happen. I'm not going to sit here and say that it can't ever happen. Absolutely, it can. But what I'm saying is when you're walking in that saying that, well, that's part of the game. Like that's part of life. That's what's going to happen. When your mind frame is giving you a way out, you're going to take the way out. But if your mind frame is set that I have everything to lose if I make the wrong move, then you're going to try to move in that direction to protect that with everything.
Okay, so let me just ask Miss Taken and the AP a question. This is a two-part question, so answer this part really fast so I can get to the second part. Can you tell me the man in all the history that you respect the absolute most? Like you just in all the history, what's the just give me the name of the man you respect the absolute most?
My granddad.
Okay. What about you, AP? It could be
My high
Jordan.
school principal.
Okay. If you found out your granddad had a side woman, would you lose respect for him?
I wouldn't lose love from him, but respect I probably would. And that's
What
just I probably would. I wouldn't
Okay.
lose love for him, but I probably would lose a level of respect just because of the person that I knew he did not move like that.
Okay. So AP, if you found out that in the same situation that he had a side chick, would you lose respect for him?
No. Why would I?
That's
It
how
has no
men view.
bearing.
It's different. Is what I'm trying to get you to understand. Like,
I agree with you. That's what I said. I do think men and women think differently, but I think when you're talking about character, integrity, and morality, I don't think that's gender. That's not gendered based.
I think that the subjectiveness of what you define as your character and what, so there are things in like the line for you, there are things when it comes to sex that change for us, right? It's just it's the nuance that we always mess up in the conversation when we try and apply male uh complete logic to most women, because there's some women who fall alongside that line, but to most women it's always going to be a disconnect in the same way where, because it's like you run your it's a different filter that you run in your criteria through than what we run our criteria through. And then
Of
at the end
course,
of it,
because you're gonna run your criteria through the things that you want. Like I can, if if I had a situation like or like women when they're referring to money and how certain things should be with money, they're gonna run their filter through that because for them it's a benefit. It's something that they will benefit from. Just like as men, you're going to run your filter through some differently when it comes to sex because it's something that you benefit from and you enjoy. So I definitely think that. But that's why I say when you're looking at character, when you're looking at integrity, that has nothing to do with being gender specific. If you take a vow in your marriage and you're saying, I, agree to forsake all others. You're saying that as the husband, you're saying that as the wife, right? So if you're a person of character and integrity, you're going to move in that direction to ensure that you keep your word.
so let me ask you this: that same speech or that same vow, it has that for what is it, brokenness and health and rich or poor, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if a woman is unhappy with the amount of money you're making, does that make her bad character?
Yes, it depends on this. I definitely think it's bad character if she's willing to walk away from the marriage because you don't make a certain amount of money. You know what I'm saying? Yes, because the marriage says for better, for worse, for richer or for poorer. So if he happens to lose his job or she expected him to be on like a trajectory of being a CEO and he never gets there and he remains, whatever level that he's at, and then she wants to leave because of that, then absolutely it would be of poor character and poor integrity. Absolutely. There's no difference. That's why I said when you're moving in character and integrity, there is no gender. It's not gender based.
So are you saying most women that be on the panels that come online and request this amount of money that they would like, they're all low moral, low character women?
No, I didn't say that. And that wasn't your original question. You said if they were married. No. You said if they were married and they said for rich or for poor. I think when you are in the process of dating and you're not married, the rules are a little different because you at that point have choice. But once you've locked in and you got married and you take your vow, then you have to move totally different than you were when you weren't married. That's totally different.
So anyone that ever gets divorced based on finances as a woman is a low quality, low caliber woman.
If that was the foundation of why she got married, yes.
No, why she got divorced. She could have loved him and then she was happy with where he was at, say he loses his job. If she divorces him off that, is that a low quality, low caliber woman?
When you say low quality, low caliber, I wouldn't necessarily say she's low quality, low caliber, but I would say she has her integrity isn't right or her character isn't right. She's not moving in good character or having good integrity. Absolutely.
So with the amount of women that be online talking about finance as a prerequisite,
I think they go hand in hand. I think that they go hand in hand. I know what you're saying. I get what he's saying because men care about those needs. Women care about financial needs. And so both of which are superficial. And so if you're gonna say one, then kind of like the other.
And that's what I'm saying.
Because at the end of the day, it just ain't for rich or for poor.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. That's why I say if they went in the marriage and that was their foundation for why they were getting married, then I think that that's wrong in general.
But sometimes it may not be the foundation, but let's just say you may not be great with hitting rock bottom. Some people just don't do well in bad places. They just don't
get
like
married because and then I would say to that, then don't get married, because hitting rock bottom in a marriage can potentially happen. Like, you don't have control over the direction of the way certain things go. That's why it's very important to try to vet as much as you can. Do I have the chick that if all things fail, that she's still gonna have my back, that she's still gonna stay in it, and vice versa for a girl. Like, if I ever get sick, because I think we had talked about on one of those shows before that, men will divorce a woman if they get sick or something like that and have an ailment or whatever. Like, does this seem like the type of man that if all goes bad and I'm sick, that he is going to be down for me no matter what? Those are things that you are supposed to be looking for when you're vetting. You know what I'm saying? So when you get married, that's not something that you should necessarily have to question.